Good to see everybody. How are we doing? All right? Good. All right. Yeah, so as I shared yesterday, I was proud of the guys, the way they came together at the end of the half and also the end of the game, in terms of complementary football. As we know, these games come down to a few plays, and we made the plays necessary to win the game in situations in the fourth quarter. So I was proud of the guys that way. I got a chance to show them all those plays during the team meeting today, and we showed them some negative plays too that we got to clean up, like we always do, and trying to learn from this performance as we go forward and try to improve and get better from this performance moving into this week. Injury update, the only one we have is Tevin. Tevin's got a bruised rib, and that's all we have right now for you. In terms of that, we'll see where it is. It's day to day. We'll see where he heals for tomorrow and then into Wednesday. So we'll make a designation at that point and see where he goes. But with that, I'll take questions.
Man, I'm guessing one of the negative plays that you might have shown was the second quarter overthrow to DJ Moore, which looked like it could have been a touchdown. DJ called it a miscommunication. Can you be more specific? Like, where's the miscommunication? Who's it on? What should have happened?
Yeah, I talked to Caleb this morning. As you know, I meet with him at 9:15, and we talked about that particular play. And we really it's about being on the, I wouldn't say the same page. It's just having that continuity with those guys running the routes. Because everything changes. The coverage changes, who he's running it against, and then we just got to do a good job of them working together with different variations of different coverages during that time. But again, they just got to be on the same page there in terms of going vertical or leaning out or leaning in. So, and those guys will get that. More time on task, those guys will get that continuity.
Matt, what did Caleb communicate to you about what he saw in that specific instance?
Yeah, I mean it's really it's a ball where he's taken off, right, and just stays straight. He just stays straight right there, and then he's gonna put some steam on the ball. It's really a one ball there, and that was just what the play was.
Well, after looking at the film, how would you assess, you were so much more successful in the run yesterday, what would you attribute that to?
Yeah, just detail. It was just detail in terms of the detail of the blocks, guys being on the details. I thought it was the runners. The runners did a really good job of running downhill. It was the types of runs were a little bit different. They're a little bit more downhill type runs. And the perimeter blocking was good. The reason you make those explosive plays is the perimeter blocking is there as well. So it takes all 11 of the guys to get that done, and the detail is really good.
What did you learn about Caleb, the way he played with the lead? Or the way he played with the lead as opposed
Yeah, the 4-minute deal at the end, yeah, it was good. It was good, obviously you want to end the game with the ball in your hands right there, getting that first down and really seal the deal. But we also did a good job of having him exhaust his last 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning and getting the clock all the way down to 1:13, and after the punt it was 1:03, so with no timeouts, and obviously the punt and pin was big there. So I thought we operated good as a football team there.
You guys went almost 2.5 games without being ahead. Is there a benefit to a rookie quarterback to sit there and go, it's okay, you've got some points to play with a little bit. I know you want every drive to be the same, but contextually, is it a little different?
I don't think so. I just think you got whatever the situation is, those situations change fast. A team could score on you, then you're down. It could change. You go from 4 minute to 2 minute, and all those things that could also happen too. So you just got to play the situation out, and you got to play to the very last. The Rams game the week before. They come on to the very last couple of plays, and that's the way that game was. So they're all different. You got to play the situation.
Montee Sweat said he felt disrespected on the strip sack play because he had a tight end covering him one-on-one. As a defensive coordinator, were you a little surprised with that as well? What did you think about Montee saying that?
Yeah, Montez can say what he wants. He's a grown man. So, but I just, they had the receiver coming back there to help him out. That was the design of the protection. They actually had 2 guys assigned to him. And again, I'm not sure if they were fitted up the right way there, but again, Tez had a great rush and did a nice job with the sack fumble.
A couple players yesterday in the locker room said that DeAndre Swift had this just look in his eye during the week in practice, this determination or resolve or whatever you want to call it. What did you notice from him during the week, and how nice was it to see him break out?
Yeah, just him working. you know, and him trying to find answers, you know, in terms of what he could do better. And he asked several people that same question, and he really took to heart what people were saying to him. You know, his running back coach, the offensive coordinator, he asked me about it, you know, and I told you guys last week about pressing the hole and making the cut, and that'll really help the offensive lineman out, and he did that, you know. So it comes down to doing the ordinary extraordinary, you know, and that's what he did yesterday.
And you talked about times your satisfaction in the way the player-coach relationship went last week in terms of the feedback both directions. What was your interpretation of what the players were looking for when they were kind of pushing for more accountability and to be coached a little bit harder?
Just I think it was more accountability, really amongst the group. You know, I don't like making the division between coach and player. It's a partnership, meaning that, you know, if something's wrong, a player's, you know, can say, hey, let's get that over again, coach. That's okay. You know, we do it all the time, you know, so it's important for them to step up, you know, because sometimes they'll see something because they're in there blocking it. Say, hey, we got to do that again, coach. And that was really the accountable piece of the partnership, you know, of the whole group, a whole unit, special teams unit, offense unit, defense unit, football team, making sure we get it right, because we know when it's right and the players know when it's right. So if it's not right, let's speak up. Let's do it again.
Matt, Shane Waldron went from running the option at the goal line against last week to going the polar opposite and running, you know, Kramer as a fullback behind him. How much input did you have in that kind of transition and him kind of getting kind of as set as with the offense in that?
Yeah, I talked about it last week. You know, just really about you know what we're doing. You know, is it effective, and then who's doing it? You know, is the skill set that we're asking people to do, does it really fit the skill set of that particular person? That could be what, you know, if you're throwing a screen pass, if you're running a perimeter play, or if you're running downhill. You know, so each guy does things a little bid better than the other guy in terms of what fits their skill set, and I think we did a good job there. You know, and then running God's play down there was pretty good. So.
What'd you learn about Shane? What'd you learn about Shane as far as just responding to that? I mean, to your input and just in the player, just everything. Just
It was great. Yeah. The feedback's been great. You know, the response has been great with everybody. You know, we're just trying to get it right, and we're growing as a football team. You know, so every single week we grow as a football team. We learn each other better. We grow as a football team and get better every single week. That's what you have to do in this league, and we're getting better. So this week's no different.
You talked about complementary football when you first started here. What impact do you think the way you guys finished that game will have future in terms of confidence and being able to do it again? You always hear people say that teams, just any team, needs to learn how to win.
Right. Yeah, you could feel that in the locker room. Guys are really believing in each other and believing in themselves and believing in our football team. And when you have a performance like that at the very end, to be able to pull that out like that, it's good. You know, it's like the first week. You know, the first week we were down, being able to come back and do that. So it's just about being consistent, you know, in our practice, in our preparation, you know, and then in game.
Matt, yesterday you talked about there were 3 sacks on Caleb and something to clean up. When you went through those plays with him yesterday, it seemed they were all kind of similar with him in the pocket. I know each one's different, but what were some of the things you diagnosed there and some things for him to work on?
Yeah, the one was just to break down, you know, with the individual technique on the left side. You know, and I think Matt did a really good job of getting the ball. That was really good. A really heads-up play, athletic play for him to be able to get that ball in the first try. I mean, he's a massive guy, and to be able to bend down like that and get that football is really amazing when you look at it. And then we got the strip sack right after that, so that was a big sequence there for us. You know, but it comes down to a couple of things. You know, they got some good push, I thought, you know, from the edge. Those are 2 really good edge rushers. So there's some push on the edges there a couple times. I think that was one of them. So, but it just comes down to fundamentals, being firm in the pocket. You know, the one play that comes to mind when we DJ's touchdown pass, there was a little bit of pressure on the outside. Those were all singles there, and the middle 3 did a nice job of really keeping that pocket firm so he could come back to the progression to DJ in the back of the end zone there.
And there's the second quarter drive, the one on which Tevin Jenkins was injured, and then you guys had a couple penalties on that drive, illegal formation, and then eventually 3rd and 15, Caleb goes down. When you're looking at that sequence, it seemed like there were opportunities, because they were giving you some opportunities as well with their own penalties.
Sure.
What do you say about that whole drive? It just seemed like a lost drive.
Yeah, it was. They had a couple holding penalties there, right, on that same one. So yeah, you know, you like to be able to take advantage of that. You know, when you get those free first downs, you know, and then to put yourself in a hole there, that's not what you want, obviously. You take yourself out of scoring range there, and we just got to clean those things up. You know, those things put you behind the sticks. You know, negative plays, you know, however they come, right, by penalty or, you know, getting a TFL or, you know, a sack. Those are all negative things that you need to eliminate the best you can. There's always going to be a couple of those, you know, in the game, but we got to be able to overcome those too. When it does happen, we got to be able to overcome them.
Matt, yesterday, Jalen talked about wanting to get across to everyone, coaches and players, that there needs to be a sense of urgency to get this thing right now because you'll never have this team again. How have you felt that sense of urgency kind of develop over the last couple of weeks just with everyone in the locker?
Just the guys' work patterns. You know, you really just look at how they work. You know, in terms of you know finishing on the backside and you know making sure that all those things are clean. And the guys have had a sense of urgency the last, you know, since the beginning of the season. They know what time it is, and you know the NFL is always a sense of urgency to do it every single week. So this week's no different.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.